Welcome to Two and a Half Brains. This is our Survivor, not recap, but Survivor off-season show. We've been talking about doing this for over a year, or just about a year at this point. So it's the summer, the long break from the show, long hiatus from the all the reality TV stuff, and of course with no scripted TV right now, there's a lot to talk about. We're going to dive in here in just a moment. But this is a fun little show we're going to be doing. It's called the Survivor Think Tank versus Stink Tank. And I'm going to bring in Jessica here with me in just a moment here. Be sure to subscribe to us. Anything, you like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pavement Road Productions. Email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and bring in Jessica. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. You're here today, and Jessica's in a mood to rip up Survivor. So that's what we're kind of here to do. It's called the Survivor Think Tank versus Stink Tank. So what we're going to do here today, I have a couple housekeeping things to get to, a couple of updates, whatnot. But what we're going to do, I have a list of a few topics to talk about for Survivor. So things that should make Survivor better, but maybe they'll be terrible. So I'm going to throw out some ideas, things that might make Survivor better, and just going to tell me why they suck or why they're good, but mostly why they suck. And obviously, if they're the good. Whatever she thinks is good, she'll say is good. Whatever she thinks is bad, I'll say is bad. But years ago, around Survivor season 25, season 24 almost ended the series. Unfortunately for Jessica, it did not. But they did, Rob and his podcast and Steven Fishback, Rob and Steven did a think tank kind of ideas that might help Survivor be better and make it the series, survive past season 24. And they came up with a bunch of ideas, and they threw them at the wall and kind of decided what might be good, what might be bad, and whatnot. And a lot of things they said over time have been added to the show. So somebody was listening, and a lot of stuff they said was added to the show. So I came up with the idea of a Survivor think tank, the kind of things that might make the show better. Because over the last few seasons, especially, and I wanted to do this kind of before last season, but last season didn't make me want to do this any less because it was still really bad, and a lot of things. I'm the least excited for Survivor as I have been ever in my entire life. And it's a 90-minute episode now instead of an hour-long episode. So with that being said, you would think, longer episode would be more exciting, but I'm less excited because a lot of things have gone wrong with the show. A lot of things aren't as good as it used to be. And I'm going to talk about them here. We're kind of talk about some things to make it better, improve some of the problems that they're having with the show. So maybe somebody listen, maybe it'll become better. Maybe it won't, but there's some ideas I threw at the wall, see what happens, go from there. So let's go ahead and dive on in here in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead. It's pretty much 10 things, not in necessary order, which kind of things I thought of, and we'll go through them here. And again, you can tell me why they suck. So it's the think tank versus, we send them to the think tank to become an idea, or to the stink tank to go to the bowels of bad ideas. If that makes sense. That's kind of the idea of the show. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and dive in here in just a moment. I do want to have one quick housekeeping announcement before we do, and we'll do that next. And obviously, of course, as always, Jessica's here to keep us on track, keep us from going too far off the rails, and obviously add her opinion to these things, to the ideas that we have. All right. So before we do that, though, obviously, the show is starting. This is summer still summer break from all these shows. The Amazing Race and Survivor premiere on September 27th. So, and of course, it's 90 minutes back to back. So it's 3 hours of show on Wednesday night. So, with that being said, I've made an announcement and made a decision how we're going to cover this. Because it's not going to be easy to cover this. Jessica's super thrilled to watch Survivor. It'll be
I will not be watching this.
It'll be at most for her background noise, but that's at most. I think she still likes Amazing Race, but an hour and a half is a little bit long. But I think she likes Amazing Race.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. So
they don't need longer show times. I got too much to do.
Correct.
These people are not thinking of what people have other things to do.
Well, they're thinking of the fact that there's no other shows on because of the writer's strike.
I only need 2 hours worth of shows in one night. I got other things to do.
I hear you.
Busy.
So, as am I. and we have things come up. We have weekend, and we have weeks long trips, vacations come up, stuff like that. So we're not gonna be we're gonna get behind at least the first couple weeks, and then throughout the season we're gonna get behind again. So for me to do 2 shows is gonna be a problem. It's gonna be difficult. In fact, it's gonna be impossible. So I'm announcing this right here, a major format change. This season, I will be doing a recap of the reality TV shows. A one show, here's what happened on Survivor and The Amazing Race in one show. Go ahead.
How does that make me happier? It's going to be a freaking 2-hour long show.
It's not, because it's going to be the same length. I'm just going to say, here's what happened on this show. Here's what I think about it. Here's what happened on this show. Here's what I think about it. And that's it. Okay. So we're not going to go into detail with it. It's going to be very surface level. Just quick recap of what happened. And Jessica will only be with me for the Amazing Race part of it. It'll be basically 2 mini shows spliced into one show. And that'll be our recap, weekly recap. So we're going to say, hey, here's who they voted out. Here's what happened. Here's what they did wrong. Here's what cool thing happened. Here's cool thing that happened. And then on the Amazing Race, here's what happened. Here's some teams that are good. Here's some teams that are bad. Here's some of the cool things that visited. Yada yada yada. And that's gonna be it. So instead of being 2 separate shows, it's gonna be one show, basically the length of. It's gonna be the same length of one show. So it won't be double the length or anything like that. It's just gonna be, basically recapping what happened in a 30-minute format or so, and about 15 minutes per each show is basically what we're looking at.
15 minutes.
Per show.
That's funny.
That's what we're gonna hope for. The idea is to not to go in as depth, in as much depth.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works out.
All right.
That's the plan for now. No, the format's gonna be completely changed, and that's what we're gonna do. So it's basically Jessica kind of gave me the idea of a weekly recap of everything that happened, as opposed to multiple shows. So. I don't know if she remembers how that idea came about, but she
I
did.
really don't remember how I gave that suggestion.
We'll talk about it offline, but you did give me the idea.
All right.
So it's a weekly show, one show, the recaps, and we can even throw in other reality TV shows that we may watch. If we get caught by Masked Singer, we can throw that in there too.
Listen, let's hold the phone here.
But I am holding the phone. But that's kind of the idea of we can just anything that happened in reality TV that we watch, we can throw that into one show, make it easy. And I won't have Jessica necessarily on the Survivor show. It may have a guest here and there, but it'll probably just be me, and then I'll bring Jessica for the Amazing Race part of it.
Let's be honest, I'll still pay attention somewhat to Survivor and have chirps to say about how stupid everybody is.
There you go.
Not that I need to bring my blood pressure up any more than it is.
Well, we also have to see if anything we say is implemented and how what we're going to say would make the show better. Because the show's at one of its all-time lows right now, in my opinion.
No.
Well.
No.
Well, it's coming from someone who doesn't really like it to begin with. Somebody who did like it to begin with is agreeing with you. That's really bad. So, all right. So let's fix it. So here's 10 things Survivor can do to be better going forward. A top 10 list, if you will, not in any particular order, but 10 things Survivor can do to make the show better and make the show survive. Because, again, the ratings keep going down, and there's a lot of problems that the show has, and we're going to try to fix some of them right now. So the plan right now, obviously, would be to get the show out. It will obviously be out Wednesday night like we have been doing, obviously. I think the plan would be to try to get out Thursday or, the next Friday or Monday. The Friday or the next Monday would be the plan to get out those recap shows. We have to watch them. We'll probably watch Amazing Race live, watch Survivor the next day commercial-free, and then record would be my thought. But we'll see. That's the plan for now.
Take into account the football season and everything
Correct.
else.
Correct.
I got a fantasy team to watch.
Exactly. We both do. So let's go ahead and start with the topic number 1 here on this Survivor Think Tank versus Stink Tank. Topic 1 to discuss to make Survivor better is
more returning players / themes.
Yeah. So since Survivor 40, we haven't had a theme. It's just been Survivor 41, 42, 43, 44, which is fine. It works for some things, but it gets very bland. It's really you can't even remember who's on which season because there's no real way to keep them straight in your head, right? I like the returning player seasons. I said before, if they never do another new player season ever, that's fine with me. Just put different people in different situations and different circumstances, right? A different cast. Because you could play the same cast over and over again and have a different result, right? Because people know how that player plays now, or so on and so forth. You can have the first boots. You can have people who are the second place finisher. You can have whatever. You can have how you want to do it. But I think it'd be a good. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to do more returning players. Again, and even people who aren't even well known, just bring them back. Or pick random people out of a hat. Hey, you want to come back and play? And you do a different theme every season. And again, now it's these 6 people who all play together, but now it's a different theme, and see how that impacts the outcome, or whatever. You don't seem to be liking this idea.
No, it's all right. Themes are fine, but for anybody that doesn't know the show or know the people, returning players doesn't mean anything. And if you want to attract newer fans, I don't know. I mean, you feel like you put people in the position that they need to know everything they did before. And not a lot of people that watch a new show are going to go back and watch the old shows to catch up.
That's true.
Not with 40 seasons.
Right. No, for sure. And that's a problem. I think they don't necessarily have to watch their seasons to know, there's really no difference necessarily between the person who played once before or a person who plays again. But I think it would be something different. I think too, if you did like
returning players isn't something different though, and themes also aren't something different. It's just bringing back something they did before.
Yeah, I said I think if you did I think one thing that was mentioned is every 7th season you do this theme, or you do this theme. Bring back the themes. So if you do new players, bring back themes.
Well, yeah, themes are fine. Having a point to the show or having something different to the show. How about different locations again?
Well, we'll get there. But I think one thing, the first 2 seasons were all just name of the place they were, right? Australia, Africa, whatever. Also, I think would be an interesting thing. They did Survivor Second Chances. It was one of the best seasons ever because the fans got to pick the cast. Yeah. They voted on they provided 30 people, pick 20, pick 10 men, 10 women, and they'll go play. Mm-hmm. And they're all that way. They're all the same. They've all been there's nobody who's like Game Changers. The problem with the Game Changers was there were some legends and then some nobodies, and then the nobodies can team up against the legends, and it's impossible.
That's why you can't have mixed casts.
Right. So this way they're all been voted by the fans. They've all played only once and didn't win. All those things. So if they're all similar caliber players, then it's a little bit more fair. That's why Second Chances did really well and Game Changers not as well. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing for that. Again, if you did fans versus favorites or something like that, again, that would be something a little different. They haven't done it in a while. And if you have cast actual fans and then actual returning players people want to see again that are well known, well liked, that makes it a little bit better. Or do a third time's the charm season, and the fans vote those people in. They're all played twice and didn't win, and the fans can vote them in. I think that'd be a different thing, or again maybe a similar thing that has been done before, but a slightly different. And again, the themes keep it fresh. 4 seasons in a row with no theme, just random people. And spoiler alert, 45 is gonna be the same. I think 46 is gonna be the same. New people. Same format, nothing different. Again, can you tell me who's on season 41, 42, and 43? Can you tell me, if I name a person, can you tell me what season they're on? Between the last 4 seasons? Probably not, right?
I mean, I don't remember people like you do in general, no, right. So...
And I couldn't either.
Wouldn't.
I mean, you tell me, what season was this person on? Over the last 4? One of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Omer and Lindsay, what season was that? I don't know, 42, I think? I don't know.
Well, you got it right, so you're defeating your purpose.
Okay, but again, I don't. It's you can, regardless. What season was? What season was Chanel on?
40.
40 was all winners.
No, 41. Drop the 4, keep the 1.
Was that Chantel or Chanel?
Freaking.
Exactly. So, and they both were green.
Which one's which?
They both were wearing green. So I don't remember which one was which. But yeah, exactly. So I think if we have a theme, you can say, oh, that was the person who played on that theme season. If you don't remember the number, you can at least remember, oh yeah, they're on the Ghost Island season. They're on the Edge of Extinction season. Whatever. It would make it a little bit easier to remember and stand out in your mind a little more because they've been very bland, very average.
Not as concerned with reality shows trying to remember who was on what season because there's 40 some freaking. There's gonna be like 100 seasons. You think people are gonna remember?
No.
Each person. It's like Big Brother. You think people remember every single season that people were on?
No, but if it's something different that it hasn't been done a million times, it wasn't the same as every time, at least you can remember the season if you don't remember the cast.
Yeah. I mean, the theme with the season, that's fine, but the cast, it's like that. To me, that's not even a concern of mine to have to remember all these people and all this stuff. They're all normal people on a show.
For sure. And they're all abnormal
because
on a
It's a game show. Yeah. It's a game show.
You remember everybody who's on Jeopardy, of course not, right? Same thing.
Obviously. Exactly.
So, we can move on, though, because I think that was half think tank, half stink tank, I think. Mm-hmm. All right. What's... I said, I love returning player seasons. I always do. I love seeing how they evolve, how they learn from the last season. But again, like you said, you want to bring in somebody new, they're not going to go back and rewatch that. They're not going to really know what's going on. And especially now, a lot of the viewers are younger. So a lot of people who are watching now weren't even born when the first season aired.
Right.
And that's a difficult thing to do. Mm-hmm. So, cool. What is next?
Less idols and advantages.
Less idols / advantages, yeah. So this one, self-explanatory. I'm of two minds of this because if you go back and watch Survivor Africa or Borneo or Marquesas, when there's no idols, it's pretty damn boring. It's pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. The votes are always like, okay, let's vote the weak person, and then we'll get lines to like 5, and we'll vote the other 2, and then we'll go to merge, and it's very methodical. They have to bring a lot more of the survival element, which nobody cares about. And it's become very it becomes very bland. So I don't want that, but also I don't want so much randomness. You know what I mean? There's like every season 6 idols, and there's all these random twists and advantages, and like the producer getting so involved that like if you're a good player, you have no chance because unless you have every advantage or every idol, you can't. One person, people can go out with one vote. It happens all the time. They get one vote against them and they go out, and again they can't. You can't possibly anticipate everything that's going to happen. So if you're a good player, you're being threatened, you vote out. And I want to see less of that. I want to see more good players using the rules of the game to, manipulate the social strategy. That's what I want to see.
I mean, that's kind of what they're doing with the tools that are given to them.
Right, but there's so many tools and so many different, minds you have to navigate around. It's hard, unless they all have actual minds.
It depends on which season, because we had the one season where no one played an idol at all. Like, no one really did anything. In the last season, there was a lot of kind of moves and different things made. I don't know. I mean, less is probably fine, but I feel like they need some sort of stuff to liven up the game.
They absolutely do. If you don't do enough, it gets very boring. Yeah. If you do too much, it gets too random.
Plus, unfortunately, everybody just has a different opinion. So those that we think are great, obviously the people there don't, and that's why they get rid of them and they vote them off because that's what they see while they're there. I don't think there's ever going to be a change that's going to make it where the great players are going to be there because too many people can see it at this point.
Right. Well, it's, you have to hide for sure. You can't be out in the open, and that's and that I think though too, if there's a player who's good enough, maybe if there's not as many there's not as much randomness in there. When's the last time we had a really good winner? Tony. Right? Before that, last time we had a really good winner, maybe Nick. But we haven't had any really great winners because people who were in on all the moves, who made decisions, who cut their opponents and got to the end and won, because there's so many other things in the game where if you make one move, well, this person has some random thing that they can throw in there that mixes everything up, and then you can't anticipate it because it's never been done before.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a fine line. I guess what I'm trying to say. You don't want nothing in the game because it just becomes very boring. And it's just a pick off one by one, and the only person in the game who's good wins because they're the only one who's good. So you want something to counter that, but you don't want 8 things to counter that.
Yeah.
You want the players to be able to maneuver around without it being completely random, right. Which is what it's turned into. I think it's like you look at the person who can win the game, And like we did the kind of study last season. The person who won the game had like the most average player in the game. Right? Like we did like the pluses and minuses and everything, and I think they had like even basically the winner.
Who won last year?
Jam Jam.
Ah, yes.
And he wasn't a good player at all.
No.
Just found an alliance and was friendly and likable. Like, okay, well, that's not a player who does anything, but they were just so there.
I mean, you want more advantages that are going to help the actual strategic players stay in the game, the ones that are trying and doing things
Right.
to stay in the game.
And innovate take those advantages and innovate with them.
Yeah.
I guess. You know, they take those advantages and say, here's something that's never been done before, let me take this advantage and do this with it.
Well, now you're getting into dependent on people again and their thinking and everything else.
Well, cast people who can do that then.
Well, that's asking a lot of society sometimes, so.
Certainly.
It's just, you know.
So I think we're kind of half and half on that too. I think, you know,
It's fine reducing the idols because half the time people aren't using them anyways.
And they sit on them to the end.
Yeah, so
Right.
get rid of some of them then, and then have less so people know if they get something, it's going to be rare.
Or
anyways,
like a shot clock, right? Like you have like 2 episodes use this, you know, or whatever. So it's just, instead of sitting out till the end of the game, and now you wasted it, or you know the whole season went by and you didn't use it. Well, now at the end there's 6 people who have idols. It's like that's not going to be good for everybody.
Yeah.
So. All right. So what is topic number 3 to help Survivor become a better show again?
Casting changes.
Casting changes. Okay, so this one's one that's gonna get me in trouble and kicked off YouTube. You know where I'm going with this?
I think so now.
Okay, so I don't care about their diversity. They can shove their diversity. You want a cast of all Asians, all Hispanics, all African Americans? Go for it. You can put Jordan Peele in charge of casting. Okay? I don't care as long as they're entertaining and good players.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care anything.
Yeah.
But they have the check boxes. Now, it has to be 50% people of color or LGBT.
Right.
That's like, well, when you have to do that, you're not opening yourself up to the best possible people. You can do 100%. I don't care. Just give me good people.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a good cast. Mm-hmm. The best seasons usually have the best cast. Sometimes it's the best theme, but usually it's the best cast. Like, of the 30s, one of the best seasons of the 30s was 31, which was all fan-picked, and 37 was with Christian Hubicki and Nick and Gabby and all them, right? John Morrison, all those people, right? Great cast. Phenomenal cast. Dr. Allison, all those people. Great cast. 33 was really good with Zeke and Adam and David Wright and Jay and all them, right? Great cast. Phenomenal cast. Okay? Give me good dynamic characters. You know, a lot of times with social media, it's harder now too because they don't want to cast major jerks because they'll get just killed on social media. Because people will tweet them and say, "You're a horrible person, go die." And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to put him in that spot. Mm-hmm. So if fans can stop doing that, that'd be helpful also. But like, for example, the really only major villain, quote unquote, we've had in the 40s, do you know who it was? It was Shan.
Yeah.
Because she was like, you know, talking about how she enjoyed ruining people's lives, and she's a pastor. Right. You know, it was just funny. She hummed it when she was going to kill somebody, right? Great. Phenomenal. One of the best characters they had.
Yeah.
But they're afraid to cast, you know, dynamic people because they have to check certain boxes. And again, they're digging deeper. They're finding people in other, you know, like one of the problems with the 20s of Survivor was it was all actors, right? It was all models and actors and people who weren't actually, didn't know, you know, they ruined fans versus favorites the second time they did it by casting all recruits as the fans, right? The fans weren't fans. They'd never seen the show before. So put actual people on the show who've seen the show before, who are actual fans, right? Like, do that. But the cast, you know, the cast will make a regular season. If the cast is fantastic and wonderful, and they're good players, and they're entertaining, that's good. The color and their sexual orientation should not matter. It just should. And I know in society today it does. And that's the only thing that matters in society today. But you want to say, you know, Jeff always says, Survivor is a microcosm of society. Well, it's not when you cast half the country's not gay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that blows up in your face, Jeff, when you say that, because it's not true. It never really was true, but it's less true now. So give me the best cast. I don't care what they look like. I don't care where they put their genitals. Give me the best cast. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I could care less. Since when everybody's going back to defining themselves by all of this instead of who they just are as people, that's all I want on the show.
I mean,
Because it drives me crazy when that's all they have to talk about. Like,
41.
Who are you as a person? I mean, yeah, you shouldn't be defined on all of that. You know, are you giving? Do you help people? Like, what do you value?
What do you do for a living?
Yeah.
What social economic status are you? Those things, for sure.
I mean, just because if you're gay or bi or whatever, that's not what you value. I mean, what do you value? You value people, family. You value, what you have, what you give, or whatever. But
And it's also rare that a person who is all about that, like I said, 41 was ruined because it was all the people of color who wanted to stick together and help each other out. And that, again, nobody wanted to hear about that. Nobody cared that we're going to vote people out based on race. That's pretty horrible.
well, it is really bad. I mean, it's fine line to talk about this, obviously. Like you said, I don't care, like you said, who it is. You can be black, Asian, everybody. Like, it doesn't matter. But when you're protecting each other just based on race, how, like, bad is that as a look?
Sure.
That you're going after all these other people because you guys are all together because you're the same race. We're all supposed to be nice and welcome each other and, be friendly to each other, but it's just, you don't see that all the time now. And it's half and half with people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It says, give me a good cast, give me the right people, put the right people on the show. I don't care beyond that. I don't care what it takes. But a big part of the problem is too, it's harder for people of color to win because people of color weren't winning, right? So like Jeremy and Wendell are great winners because they're black guys who won a cast of almost all white people. So that makes them an even better winner, right? Because if it's so racist they can't win, well, guess what? They did win. So it makes them even better winners. So now if half the cast is black, a black winner is not as important, not as impressive. And
but not saying they have to cut it down where it's not half black cast, but just have people on there that
correct
are willing and know what to do.
Don't check a box.
Yeah.
And also so many times when, like, for example, a big thing was, and I liked seeing it, was Karishma on her season being Indian and not wanting to do something that other people were doing,
talking about her culture
right.
And everything else. Yeah.
That's so that
I
was
picked her as my winner.
Yes, that was great. The problem is the flip side of that, when somebody can't do something because they're representing their community, so they have to play a certain way or act a certain way. Let them just play. Like we don't need you to represent your community. Just play. And we want people who are here to play the game. And again, they don't always cast people who are designed to win. They cast people who are cannon fodder. But give me a fun, dynamic cast of people who are gonna be crazy and do fun things and try things and have different approaches to the game, different approaches to life, and see what happens. Like Carolyn Leslie was fantastic. She was very out there, very weird, but had some good moments too.
We liked Evie. We liked Elaine.
Yeah.
Right.
All the people who are different. Mm-hmm. And that's great. I mean, give me all that. But you don't have to cast them because how many if you're casting 50% people of color, how many good white people are missing out on? How many good gay people are missing out? How many good well, I was gonna put you on the show because you're fantastic, but I can't because you don't check this box. Like, I don't care. Again, and if you want no white people on the show, fantastic. But give me the best cast and throw everything else out the window. Because the more you try to put them in certain boxes, the worse the end product becomes. Mm-hmm. All right, topic number 4 is
GTFO Fiji.
Yeah, get off Fiji. Like, I know they've made a lot of changes. Some of them don't affect the product. Doing back-to-back seasons doesn't really affect much. Doing all in one location doesn't really affect much. That kind of stuff. But you can only do so many things in Fiji. Do something different. And not for nothing too, but like they reuse the same. Fiji's an island chain. They use a lot of the same islands. So basically, they have a resort they rent out. Basically, that's what they do. And people can go, okay, well, let's see on this. Like it happened on Edge of Extinction, the second time at Edge of Extinction. That said, well, last time Edge of Extinction it hit something here. Let's go look here. It's like it's good for the fan, I guess, the people who know the game well. But like that's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like this tree is the only tree that can have an idol on it because of how it's shaped. There's only certain hiding places for idols. There's only certain there's certain things that can't be duplicated or can only be duplicated because they're still in Fiji. Mm-hmm. Like Fiji, and they used to have it based on they used to have cool locations they would go to, and now Fiji is very nice, but if you're gonna have a somewhat boring cast, and other problems, having something different, scenic once in a while might be nice.
Yeah.
I don't really care. It's not the highest priority I have, but I think it'd be nice to get out of Fiji once in a while.
Yeah, it'd be something different.
Yeah.
Make them actually survive.
Right. That'd be.
Put them against the lions again.
Right. It said Africa was amazing, but it was also terrible because, like, if you want to put on, if you want to just have a kid sitting there looking at animals, like Africa had that like crazy, but they couldn't go strategize because they couldn't leave the berm, or they'd get mauled to death. So it's like, you can't strategize.
I say, let's go to Africa.
Might be a little more interesting. I said before, put actual landmines out there, see what happens. And then we'll see who survives to the end of the episode, to the end of the season. I'm not saying that. I'm just kidding. Anything else?
No.
Okay, we'll move on that one. That one was pretty quick. Number 5.
Ditch the fire. Final 2.
Yeah. Ditch the final 4 fire making or go back to a final 2. Heck. If you want, I have a compromise. I hate the fire making. I always have. I always will. It'll never get better. I'll always hate it. Here's a compromise. You love the fire making. Do a final 3 immunity challenge. The 2 who lose make fire to see who's the end.
I mean, I'm fine with just final 2.
I'm just fine with just final 2, but they stopped doing that because the person who win immunity take the person they're easily gonna beat and it'd be like a 9-0 shutout win.
Yeah.
So that's why I stopped doing that. So to take that off the table, make it a final 3, but then it's a final 2 because the person who wins immunity is safe. The other 2 make fire, and that way the person who's like not the biggest threat who gets voted out at the final 3 can survive and make a fire, and whatever. I just think the more things you take out of the hands of the players and the strategy, the worse it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd want that either. I'd rather just get rid of the fire than. I mean, not that I'm attached to it, because I think that good people get knocked out by it, so it's annoying.
They do. And the reason they did it was because good people kept getting knocked out. Mm-hmm. So now other good people get knocked out instead. I feel like the more they put their hands on the scale, the worse it is. Yeah. They put their finger on the scale, the worse it is, right? The more producer involvement, the worse it is, right? They literally got rid of. They created the Final 4 fire because David Wright got voted out at final 3 and final 4 at 33, and Ty got voted out at final 4 on 34.
Okay, or they could have went to fire and then got eliminated by fire. I mean, it's still...
Yeah, and those people probably wouldn't have because they were good at fire. So that's why they want to protect the people who are good at fire.
Doesn't matter. There's been people that are good at fire that haven't done well.
And why is that one skill so important at the end of the game? Like, you want to do a fire making challenge, do it early in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you did all this work to have like Jesse. Jesse was so good at the game.
Well, yeah, and then he gets eliminated by fire, and it was stupid.
It was stupid.
Yeah, it was really stupid.
Like, you do everything right, and there's one little skill. Again, you should not make fire. You're in Fiji, blah, 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 you're surviving. But that's not the game anymore. Mm-hmm. The game is not who can catch fish. If that was the game, Ozzy would have been a 4-time winner. Okay?
Yeah.
But he's a 0-time winner. Because that's not what it's about. Is the game about surviving, or is it about strategy and social politics? Mm-hmm. Because, again, you lose so many... Like, they created Final Four Fire to protect the people who were who kept getting knocked out, and now other people get knocked out who are better at the game. Like, I don't know. I think like David Wright was really good at the game. He got knocked out in the final four because his best ally turned on him because the best ally knew he couldn't beat him at the end. Mm-hmm. So we have fire making now so David can save himself in the game, but now somebody else good gets knocked out instead. It's just like, go back to a little more basics, is what I'm trying to say. If you really want fire, I'll compromise with you, have a final 3 fire, and the winner goes to the final 2 with whoever wins the immunity. Or they can put themselves in fire and make fire, whatever. However they want to do that. They can still do that way.
Yeah.
But if they really are that still on fire, then do it that way. But the final 2 is so much better. I mean, they hated it because one person win that final 3 immunity would decide who goes to the end. And they had all that power. So they want to take that power away from the player.
The person that wins shouldn't be able to decide who goes to the end.
Sure. So then, that's why they did final 3, because that way the person who wins the immunity can't just unilaterally decide who goes to the end.
Right.
So they would vote out somebody who's a big threat. So they said, okay, let's make fire. So now they can't vote the person who's a big threat. Okay, well, then guess what happens now? The biggest threat goes out in fire or final 5. So we're going to make a final 4 fire making. So now there's final 5 fire making. Like, I mean, it's just...
What if you just do the immunity challenge and the first one that wins gets in and the second one wins gets passed and that's it?
I mean, that's fine too. There's a lot of things you can do, but they just keep they keep losing good players, further back in the game. So like the good players vote out at 7, and then good players vote out at 5. What are we gonna do to avoid that now?
It's fine if they want a task, but why does it have to be fire? I said, why can't it just be that immunity challenge? You do the one, and the final 2 that win make it to the end.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, if that's what they're basing everything on anyways, part of it in the way is just done because you win immunity and you get to the end of the game, it's not going in on your social skill or anything anyways. Mm-hmm. So neither will it be getting the second person either. So, like, at the end of the day, the final thing that matters most to get to the end is an immunity challenge.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Because fire, you can count that as just another immunity challenge. Just making fire, it's a different skill. Not everybody's good at the other immunity challenges anyways.
Then do a shelter building challenge. They've done those in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, why is making fire, again, because fire represents your life. When your fire is gone, so are you. Sure. But if you can't catch food, or then you're going to starve to death anyways.
Some people just don't have that skill.
Right.
Survivor is not about actually surviving. So if it is, that has to be a requirement for people to actually make it on the show then.
Absolutely.
That should be anyways.
So
it would make it more interesting for the fire making because it's always someone that knows how to do nothing versus the one person that knows how to make fire. Also,
some of the best Final Fours ever were before the fire making challenges when there was a tie. And when there was a tie, they made fire.
Yeah.
So when there was a 2-2 tie, they would just make fire anyways.
Yeah.
And those were way more fun because those were like a little bit of element of surprise.
Yeah.
There's some twists I'd love to see brought back. The vote out the jury member twist was great. They didn't like how it turned out because it screwed Aubrey, but it was a great twist. The twists are often based on who it helps if they bring it back, and I think that's stupid. And that's why I said have multiple returning players every season, have a whole cast of returning players. That way, the twist might help this person this time and hurt them the next time. Evaluate the twist based on its merit, not on who it helps. Same with fire making. Is fire making good or bad? If it's good because it helps this person this season, and bad because it hurts the person next season, well, that's stupid. Is it good or bad? And I think it's stupid. I think it's arbitrary and doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. You have all these skills. You're a great social player, great strategic player, great at challenges, but you lose the final immunity and lose fire. You're the greatest player of all time, except you're bad at making fire. Well, that's just dumb, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Let's move on then. We're halfway through. Let's talk about number 6 on the list here.
Celebrity or celebrity versus season?
Yeah, so this is something I've been thinking about a long time. Jeff actually threw this out there like 10 years ago. He said somebody like tweeted him, "Hey Jeff, wouldn't it be cool to have like a Survivor celebrity season?" And he said, "No, we couldn't get enough celebrities to do it." And a couple of celebrities said, "I do it." I don't think there'd be enough to do a whole cast of celebrity. I don't think I'd want a whole cast of celebrity. There's enough other BS like Survivor competition shows like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and there's other ones the one they had last season with all those people that were surviving in the jungle that weren't actually surviving in the jungle, that crap. But there's enough celebrities, or who are at least D-list celebrities who would want to get their name out there, who would do it. And I think we could do like a celebrity. I've always said, you want to bring back fans versus favorites, but instead of fans versus favorites, have it be super fans who have seen every episode of the show versus returning players who are fan favorites versus celebrities. And then like it's six on each, so 3 tribes of 6, and see what happens. The celebrities have all kinds of money and resources, but they might suck at surviving and being able to we work together because they have huge egos. The returning players know what they're doing, but they have huge targets. The super fans are gonna be really gonna know the game really well, but they're gonna overthink it. Who can and I think that's perfect for a theme. And again, they've had enough celebrities on the show before. They've had Jeff Kent, baseball player. They've had Lisa Whelchel. They've had former NFL players, former actors and models, whatever. They've had plenty of had Jimmy Johnson, right? They've had plenty of other celebrities. Anyways, what's the difference having like an actual just a lot of times they have to hide who they are. Oh, I'm not actually a celebrity. Put on a celebrity tribe. Now you can't hide who you are, right? I think doing doing something with that with random celebrities, or just 8 on 8 or 10 on 10 celebrities versus 10 new people, whatever. I think it'd be interesting. Not every season again, like I said, not but every 5 or 6 seasons do something like that different. They didn't like the last fans versus favorites, so do that. It's a third tribe. They love the 3 tribe format, so maybe try something like that. I don't know. I feel like you'd hate that, but what do you think?
I'd be fine with celebrities on there. I think they could get enough to do a whole season of just all celebrities, though. There'd be enough, I think, that would do it. I think they're just being picky on who they want.
Yeah, there's plenty of people who are outspoken Survivor fans. Loud, Maya Hayek, huge Survivor fan. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are, who you could get on that, you could get there. And now again, it might have to be shorter. Which how much shorter can you get? 26 episodes, 26 days, anyways. They may maybe want to do them for charities. People don't want to see celebrities do whatever. But I think it'd be fun. I think it's gonna be different.
Yeah, be fine with that.
What else? Anything else to add to that, or I move on to the next one?
Can move on.
All right, number 7 then is
new host.
Ooh.
I don't think the hosting is the issue because the host is only on there for a very short time of the actual game.
Yeah.
All there is there to explain everything and just talk so they can hear themselves talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying Jeff needs to go. I'm definitely not on that bandwagon.
I'm neutral. It doesn't matter to me. I don't think that's going to improve it to have a new host.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the overall issue.
Yeah, I said it might be different to have a different,
bring on a second host.
Well, he said they've had episodes in the past, season in the past when Jeff was doing his talk show, when the dude doing the Jeff Probst talk show for like 5 minutes. He didn't do. There was entire challenges he didn't narrate.
He enjoys talking, so
yeah,
that makes sense.
So he's doing, he's trying to be like Dr. Phil, and it obviously didn't work and didn't have there was like times where he didn't even do challenges. They just did their own challenges.
Yeah.
There's a million producers there. It's not like they're by themselves. And then said Jeff, but Jeff also is in the spot now where he puts his own ego into a lot of stuff, and he also says things from his own perspective. So somebody else new could bring in new stuff, and maybe bring in a former player, bring in a Boston Rob, bring in a Rob Cesternino, bring in a Andrea Belke, somebody who's been around, who has the media experience, Parvati, someone who's been on the show, or who knows how the show works, and they can inject their own flavor into it. I don't know. I think Jeff does a fine job, but he's also a producer, so he's trying to make the best possible show, and his own biases lead questions. At Tribal Council, he'll say things that'll blow up somebody's game because it makes for good TV, and it's like, I'd rather not, or heck, do a season where him and Phil switch. Phil does Survivor, he does Amazing Race. I think they're in the right spots right now because Phil is hands off enough where he just can talk to the audience about what's going on, and Jeff is more hands on where he can talk to the players. So I think they're in the right spots right now. But I don't know. I think just for one season having a different hosts, see how it would go. But I don't know, you're not on that board either.
I mean, it's fine. I just said I don't think that's a real issue. And it might be hard finding someone that's going to dedicate the time to stay there and be the host for so long. I know Robin, Sandra did that for a season and then ended up playing anyways the next season. But, their families and whatnot. I wouldn't mind seeing Sandra or Rob, either of them there because, they know it.
Sure. And it was funny, too, because back when, Jeff Probst show was happening and he got married and his wife didn't want him leaving all the time, and that's why they started doing back-to-back so he could spend more time with his wife, his family. They were talking about him leaving the show, and they had other things that, other names that were thrown out there and like that, and I don't know. If when the time does come, if the show doesn't end before, Jeff is ready to be done, then I think it would be a good idea to have someone who's been on the show be the new host.
Is he still with his wife?
Oh, yeah.
From that time? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
that's good.
Yes.
I was going to say he was going to leave the show, and then they got divorced, so it didn't matter.
No.
That's what I was waiting for. Okay.
He's married to the ex-wife of Zach Slater.
Yeah, Slater.
Yeah. So, cool. All right, cool. A couple of things we go through here. What's we're up number 8, I believe. What is number 8?
Live feeds, more secret scenes.
Yeah, so Survivor live feeds couldn't really happen because it's such an edited show, but Big Brother does it, and so you really can't do live feeds on Survivor. But if you did more and like I said, you don't need to do 90 minutes. You could just do an hour and have the people who want it go to Paramount Plus, and they can watch 3 hours extra if they want. All this extra strategy, also extra that went on. The people who love the challenges can see the challenges in more detail. The people who love the survival aspect can watch that stuff in more detail. Show the stuff that matters to the actual game. You can do all these extra character moments. I mean, they used to do it right on CBS.com. You could go out and get the secret scenes. Make this stuff available. Mm-hmm. You can put it behind a paywall if you want. That's fine. But I think it'd be better because a lot of times, remember when Julia, who was your winner pick, when she got voted out on that season, it was 38 or 39. It was
something like
39,
that.
And there was a live tribal where everybody stood up and they were talking, and they went over 2 commercial breaks of people just talking. Well, how did she get voted out? How did they blame her? We have no idea, because it was all just people talking, and they had to show that, right? So we could have shown less of that, or explain it to us on a episode and put it on Paramount Plus. You want to drive people to that anyways. Give more people to subscribe. Put more on there. Yeah. Give us more. Break down the episode. Of here's what happened and show us that stuff like that. Again, live feeds are really hard to do, but again, they're telling a story, so you don't know really what's happening. All you know is the narrative they're trying to tell you. So they give you more. You can get more well fleshed out characters. You can have more of the character moments on there. And again, it'd be a different viewing experience for people who watch it live as opposed to people who watch it later or with the extra stuff. So I think it'd be maybe a little bit more nuanced experience.
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Obviously, you wouldn't watch it.
Obviously not. But for those that want to see it, that's fine, because you brought up the point. Now I'm sitting here thinking, how are they going to fill an hour and a half of this show? They're just going to show people sitting around camp more, or what is going to happen? So I'll look forward to that.
Yeah. Well, and
for you.
Yeah, great.
Not for me, because I'm just going to be in my own bubble doing what I need to do.
For sure. Number 9.
More randomness, less randomness.
Yeah, and again, I think I've kind of talked about that before. Different twists will do that. Different themes will do that. You don't have to make it so much producer involvement. We don't need to have the producers, trying to influence the game as much. Let it be. Mm-hmm. Let the game happen the way it happens. Add stuff to it, so it's not just a straightforward. You want to add twists, so people can't just run the game from beginning to end. You want to add randomness, but you don't add so much randomness that again, the only people who get to the end are people who aren't good. I mean, look at the last several seasons. The only people who've gotten to the end are people who didn't do anything because they didn't get voted out. Because they weren't a target of, they weren't a target of somebody's advantage, and they didn't do anything to make themselves a threat. So they got to the end basically by not doing anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the last really 4 winners. How many of them had a ton of agency in the game?
4. You can go back a lot further than that.
Sure. I mean, 40 was Tony, and he did great. but even 39 random, 38 completely random, 36 was good, 37 was good, 35 got there by idols. I mean, again, you can go a lot of seasons, a lot of 20s as well. People got to the end by happenstance, and then we're likable. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just awful. And another thing that not really on the list, can't we sequester the jury? Why can't we?
I don't know why you can't. Why can't you?
I don't know. I mean, because it's all groupthink.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if people voted the way they actually wanted to vote, like it was sad that like there are people who have gotten second place votes because they knew everybody else was gonna vote for the first place person, so they wanted to vote on the second place person. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe it would lead to more shutouts, or maybe it would lead to more close votes.
Yeah.
Because people are voting for, they don't know whoever else is voting for. They're gonna vote for the person they think deserves to win, and that's it.
I mean, the last one that was probably not a group one was Dom and Wendell.
It was 5-5.
Yeah.
It was great. Mm-hmm. Something never happened before.
Yeah.
And guess what? That was still a groupthink because the top 5 people voted. The first 5 people voted one way. The second 5 people voted the same way.
Yeah.
So it's still a groupthink. Like I don't want, again, the Ponderosa videos and all that stuff, they see people interacting when they voted out, interacting with the jury. I don't care about that. Literally, just have everybody, you have voted out, you're now on lockdown, you can get food, do whatever you want, but you're by yourself and a producer.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That'd be fine.
And that way there's not as many people just, getting involved in the story. Like, we don't need a million people, thinking the same way. Because there's no way if you put all these people in the same room, they all think the exact same way. You can't take a survey of Americans and have them all say cancer's bad. So how are you getting all these people saying that this one person deserves to win more than anybody else?
Yeah.
It's because they're all talking about it and saying, or the cast is bad and they don't care who wins because they're not a fan of the show anyways, and they don't know what a good winner looks like anyways. So they just vote for whoever makes them feel good. And that's also stupid. But, anyways.
Yeah. Selena thinks there needs to be more mice, so
Yes,
just saying.
put more mice on the show, for sure.
Pretty much.
And I think there's one more.
Yes, number 10 is bring back fire tokens, which I've talked to you about many, many times since that season happened.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I think that would be the best improvement that they could do. It gives you randomness and then not as much randomness. People can win tokens and they buy what they want or buy what they think they need. People can work together and buy stuff, have food, because the whole food BS stuff is getting really old on the show too, where you're going to starve everybody, so then it's not interesting because no one can do anything anyways. Yeah, so like that also doesn't help. So like I like the fire tokens. I like that they could get food or shelter or convenience or whatever that they wanted, or advantages, yeah.
Make them earn the advantage.
Right. I mean, that's how you can make more interesting. You want a fire token? Here's tasks that you can accomplish. And, like, instead of just sitting around at the beach all day and whatever, people can go do a task. It can be a group task. Everybody has to go do this, and then you get so many for everybody together. It's like there's a lot of different options you could do with that.
Absolutely. And like you said, I've said before, too, for a little while there, women were finding all the idols. But before that and after that, men find all the idols, always. Because they're the ones, again, traditionally, who are out digging around in the dirt and getting firewood and this and that. So that's what idols are hidden where men are most of the time. That's how men find the idols. So here's a way to change that. Have tasks where they can win fire tokens, and then they can buy the advantage. And don't hide them. Mm-hmm. Right? It makes it more fair. You want to test.
And you can put a limit on how many.
Absolutely.
You can have only so many,
You can control that.
Idols and whatever can be bought, and then if one gets used, then you can add it back into the pot, whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's the best way I think you could. And then you can add videos of all the tasks people want to do when they're just hanging out on the beach that people can watch later online.
Absolutely.
Or fill this hour-and-a-half freaking show that they got to do.
Well, and also, too, you can have it where there's a menu stuff you can buy, but the idol's been sold, so it's crossed off. So now everybody knows somebody bought an idol.
Right.
Oh, well, who bought the idol? I don't know, right?
Exactly.
It adds a paranoia. I mean, there's a lot of extra things you can do. The only one downside of that thing is the how the only time they do fire tokens is when there was Edge of Extinction, and nobody wants Edge of Extinction back.
Right.
So how do you do that instead? Well, I heard this idea. I don't think it's terrible. Dr. Sean Kniff from season 1 said it. He was on a podcast. Dr. Sean from Survivor 1.
Kniff.
Yeah. Like knife, but Kniff. Dr. Sean Kniff said, why don't they have a double season of Survivor? And what it is you have basically, it's like Blood vs. Water, but they play on 2 separate beaches, play 2 separate games. Mm-hmm. You win, you get voted out in this game, and now you're out of the game, but you can will your fire tokens to the person who's still in the game on the other side.
Yeah, right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, and then that way too, like you didn't get voted out, but you still want to send them because you think they're in trouble. So you can send you know that your spouse is bad at challenges, so you want to send them a challenge advantage in the other game. Mm-hmm. Or they're not social, so you want to send them an idol to protect themselves. You know, it's like it's a double season, and that way too we can put one season online, or on Paramount Plus, and one on the show, or whatever. Or you can do 2 45-minute episodes for the 90 minutes, whatever you want to do it. But like that way, it's 2 separate games of like Blood vs. Water, and then you can win a fire token and send it to the other side, or they can win it and send it to you. It's kind of like Edge of Extinction, but there's actually voting out and stuff, and that way you don't win your way back in. It's just 2 separate winners, or you do 2 separate tracks, and eventually they merge, and then the 6 people have that one, 6 people have that one, go in.
Yeah.
However you want to do it. But I think that's a cool idea too. It's something different, something that you wouldn't necessarily do every season. You don't necessarily want to do fire tokens every season, but the producers love having control of the game. Mm-hmm. They love saying, having only a certain number of idols, only a certain number of this or that. Well, the way to do that then is to do fire tokens. And that way you can control how many fire tokens in the game, how many advantages in the game, how people get fire tokens. I think that make a lot of the problems that they're having with we don't want boring, we don't want too much randomness. They can control that part of it.
Because there's nothing else going on in the game besides you go do an advantage task or you go do a rewards task, and then, okay, this is what happens. This is who wins. And everybody goes back and hangs out on the beach. You watch people just sit there and talk and discuss and figure out and then mess it up because they're making stupid choices. Like, have something interesting that actually makes more drama in the game besides just who won the advantage or who won the freaking, immunity that week, because that's literally all it is.
Yeah.
And who wins the reward, like that is all it is.
Right. And I think
it's very boring.
It does get repetitive. So I think like you were saying, one way to fix that or change that would be, you want like Jeff loves when the providers win, or the big challenge beasts win. Well, if you do that, hey, go catch a fish, and bring it back to your group and you get a fire token.
Right. Something like, I'm not one to sit there and listen to talk shows, or not even talk shows, but like just listen to podcasts and stuff all the time, because I don't really want to listen to people talking all the time, because not to say like, you hear everybody's opinions all the time, but give me something interesting. If Survivor's a game, then give me more to the game besides just immunity and people making decisions on strategy, because half the time it doesn't work out the way that they talk anyway, so it's
all misdirected a lot of times,
yeah.
And I said the formula works. I mean, having immunity challenges and voting people out and all that, and then the jury decides who wins. That formula works, but they've been playing with it so much. Anyways, all the other stuff, that I think would be a good way to do it. Bring back fire tokens. I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the other things all of the problems that they're having with the show, I think would be fixed. And again, use Paramount Plus.
Make that money.
So, I think that's pretty much it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know what you think on the Facebook page, whatever. If you think these are a lot of good ideas, awful ideas, smart, dumb ideas, whatever. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jessica?
No, gearing up for this 3-hour freaking.
Well, I think what I'm gonna do, I'll do a quick cast preview. We'll both pick winners and then go from there. We're not gonna go into too much detail. We'll do it maybe before the season starts, or at least the first week. As like a first episode, recap. We'll talk about who we think is gonna win. Maybe we'll do that too instead of an actual cast preview before. But we'll figure that out. Either way, I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll do it one show to wrap the whole week up for both shows. Be sure to subscribe to us anything. You can look at our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pack Pavement Road Productions. Email show directly pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Subscribe right there on the YouTube channel. And it's at facebook.com/pavementroadprod. We'll be back here soon for the actual season of both Amazing Race and Survivor. Hopefully Survivor is better, but I won't hold my breath because they don't seem to like our opinions.
Better. It's going to be a half an hour more of,
Yes, indeed. So hopefully some of our ideas were actual think tank worthy, not else just think tank worthy. But we'll see we'll see how it goes. Anything else to add?
No.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing and sharing the post. Until next time.
Safe travels.
And I got nothing else for you. Both.
Yeah, technically.
Because the tribe has spoken.